the whole idea in a very nutshell if I look at it. If you go to the next slide, this is just a snapshot of how the Mercury was integrated together. There was a bunch of LDOs, bandgap, V2I converter, memory interface, digital filter, was done in UMC's 180 nanometer technology. Already, and this is, I will encourage all the colleges which is here, we have a very stable, and some of you will already know, stable platform where partnership and memorandum on understanding can be done with IMEC, just to make sure in a global level PDKs. And we start doing our academic exercise in that platform. All the way from 180 nanometer to 65 nanometer is available with a single NDA and single MOU. And Netra can help you to make sure. One of the things that Netra has to do, it's like McDonald's, right? It is possible to create different burger places. But setting the standard, you have to use exactly same PDK, exactly same license. For the technology, it is the grid or the many other factors which has to be exactly same. Without that, coordination and cooperation doesn't come to the picture, right? That is the role Netra will play, and India Chip, whichever team leads it, will make sure standards are absolutely same. Starting from library, PDK, standard cell, IO, everything will be standardized, right? So we have started that process, and it is going in that direction. Going to the next slide. This is just what was taped out. As you see, one of the problems that we faced in the first tape out itself, whatever was the cost that was invested for the silicon, the cost which was asked for standard cell and IO IPs was much more than that, because you have to actually buy the standard cell IO IPs in order to do a production board these stuffs. And if you don't do that, you have like the black boxes to use, and which is very dangerous for getting the production quality. So for Venus, we have already started working on these building blocks. There is a common India platform being created, which will create, as I said, once you do standardization, it becomes all easy. And any college can use this standard cell and IO rather than trying to find out, oh, what do I do? I have come and this is the GPDK or some of the stuffs which will be used, right? So next slide. This is an important portion. As I mentioned, no learning is complete without the silicon test and characterization and productization. And more complexity we are seeing with the chips. I would say it is becoming even more true. The challenges are begin with the end in the mind. How will you make the productization test successful? How will you make the number of times everything works, but the latch up issue, reliability issue, ESD failures, this actually becomes a problem, is very high, right? And I think that ecosystem is missing big way in India. We have not focused on this ecosystem. We have focused on labs, making a lot of investment on making labs, but connecting the dots of the lab is actually for something to be converted from design to productization is not done. So thankful to TESOL, which is one of the partner, has come forward as an industry partner, and these are the characterization labs, some of the electrical test, characterization, reliability test, and ability for productization with the ATE requirement. We'll go all the way to the ATE testing also. As I said, idea is not to produce, either is to demonstrate we have a productization ability and a manpower which understands the end-to-end system of the full channel, basically, right? That's the whole idea of this platform. And this facility will be available to InChip as free of cost, which is written. Also, what is also important is industry expertise will be available for guidance. We are creating a core team which will be working seamlessly. So it's not that the instruments are there, you come and do whatever is it. There will be a core team which will be working consciously to make sure this becomes successful. Yeah, I think the last slide. Yeah, we are getting ready for the panel. This is just setting the platform for the panel discussion. So all this is fine. We have talked about, Vivek has talked about talent development, manpower development. We are talking a little bit about, okay, we'll do research for productization, either IoT as well as the chip creation. But this doesn't make any sense unless we are commercializing some of these ideas and IPs. Without commercialization, it remains as a paper or at the max a very good publications in an international platform. But if it is not commercialized, the need of the country will not be solved, right? So as I shown those hands, it can be hands of any of the people here, right? I mean the industry, academia or any other people. Incubation as well as accelerations, taking it to a level where it can sustain, it is important. And just like TSMC was created by ITRI or UMC was created, which is TSMC is running pretty much the majority of the silicons. Can we create a new Apple from India which will sit somewhere there over the next few years? And that is the whole objective of that. Are you ready for contributing? We will like to hear a lot more, and this idea of this forum was to get inputs. So without further delay, I would like to hand over to Janaki Raman. He is the founder and chairman of Nuvepro, as well as very well known in the industry for the Mindtrees activity. And Jani will introduce the panel members who will be talking about the same.
I'll do it. I'll cut short the time and then Professor, please be seated actually. After Vivek's Panchatantra, and which became Panchtantra actually, with your Netra announcement, it's very tough to fill the time between now and then the lunch actually. Make it interesting so that you people still stay. So I'll try my best to do that. We have here the panel where I'm going to just do a one-line introduction to save time. Vinay Shenoy, Chairman of IESA and MD of Infineon over here. And then we have Professor Mahapatra. And Professor Mahapatra is the CEO of ESSCI, that is Electronic Sector Skills Council. Then we have Srini Chinnamalli. He is the co-founder and president of TESOL. And then we have Ashok Shettar, who is the vice chairman and vice chancellor of the KLE Technology, a university which has incubated so many startups already, and pretty well known in its own circle. And then it had been tremendous support in our particular sector, especially the electronics and then the semiconductor sector. So with this panel, what I'll do is I'll just give you a quick background so that we can have a fruitful discussion. And we are talking about a $400 billion industry actually. Proliferation of semiconductor is happening in everything actually. Each one of us at least carry minimum of 1 or 2 semicon related devices today actually. See, many times in an arena that we need to succeed, there should be a local market. If you take a Taiwan, which doesn't have a local market, still it could become a leader actually. India, we are consuming a lot actually. If we continue to consume this way, but without creating, without manufacturing, without having local development of many of the things, we are going to end up in terms of more forex being spent on electronics than even the crude oil or anything else actually. So that's going to be the challenge for the country itself, in addition to the security and several other things he has talked about. There are new waves happening. IoT we are talking about, everything that you can conceive of, right from a bulb over here to anything and everything is going to have electronics and then is going to have software. And ripple effect actually, many times we forget. Many times people have asked how many jobs the semiconductor industry can create actually. But just imagine one semiconductor engineer indirectly will create 10 embedded system engineers job. 10 embedded system engineer will create 100 application engineer job. And 100 application engineer will create 1,000 services people job. So that is the kind of ripple effect that this sector can have. But if you don't have that one, then you are not going to create that 100 actually. So how do we make sure that the government is aware of it? And not only that, we feel proud and then we feel that that one I have created and then that has indirectly created 1,000 opportunities within the country actually. So how are we going to do it? We are naturally aligned as a country in terms of science, in terms of maths, in terms of entrepreneurship. So these are the opportunity space that I can say that we have in this country. But when it comes to the challenges, if at all, if you ask me actually, those days I remember actually there were 2 challenges that used to be there actually. One was the money actually, whether you can afford capex, whether you can afford tools, you can afford workstations and those kind of arenas actually. Second thing is in terms of the talent which is capable, which can produce and then help us in terms of making this success happen, this ripple effect happen. If you ask me, one portion of the problem is solved actually. I don't think money is a major issue today actually. There are companies which are able to afford those kind of capexes. They are able to invest in tools. But still, I'll say the skills are the one which kills this industry actually. Do we have the right skills which can really help us in terms of doing it actually? The second thing in this industry, the challenge is it's a very, very fast and dynamic sector. It's evolving actually. And then technology keeps changing. So you can't say that somebody who has learned something can work forever. Continuously we have to reskill. We have to bring them up to the latest in terms of the technologies, tools, methodologies and so many other things. So how are we going to do that actually? And third one in terms of arenas is major problem I see, people who take electronics or the semicon or the ESDM related arena as a job, but find it bit tough actually. There are easy jobs out there, possibly easy jobs which pays even higher money also out there actually. So people tend to easily migrate. So how do we keep them challenged? How do you keep them motivated? How do you make them stay in this space and then do it actually? The other challenge that this industry faces is it's a cyclical industry actually. Continuously, it will go through the ups and then it will go through the downs. So sometimes people get frightened actually, so I'm great, I'm fine, I'm needed today, but will I be needed tomorrow actually? So how do you ensure that the industry gets at a level of stability, continuous need, and then able to absorb the skills on an ongoing basis, show career path, give them challenges, make them grow on a continuous basis. So that's another challenge that we have actually. And of course, the last one, whatever is the brain we have, sometimes it drains actually to US actually. So why do you have to lose people over there when there are enough challenges here, enough market over here, enough opportunities over here? How do you make sure that we are able to retain those talents and we are able to create those kind of products? We are able to address that global market, whatever we talked about. Why not we be the Microsoft of the world in the semicon arena actually, in the ESDM sector? There is a potential, there is an opportunity. So we will be having discussion on this with the panel here. And there are 4 dimensions that we are trying to address in this panel discussion. One is the training and skills and talent development related arena. Second is the research. Third is the incubation. Fourth is the India CHIPS program. And we have the panel members over here. What I will do is any one of the 4 topics, each one of you can take and then start addressing. And we will keep it short actually, because already, though Vivek assured me 45 minutes to 1 hour time, we ended up with a half an hour time. So I'll extend it by 5-10 minutes so that there are enough questions from the panel also. I'll not ask much questions actually, so that there will be more opportunity over there. We'll start with Mr. Mahopatra.